back to the Unleashed. I'm your host, Jared Beeler. The war talk has been extremely ramping up. I've noticed that Russia and China aren't even hiding it. They've put it out on their news and to the public. Prepare for war. We're about to get into it. Meanwhile, over here in America, it's taking place, but being kept under radar. Everybody's going about their daily business. It's ramping up like crazy. I don't think it's going to last much longer. I think they want to do it this year. I think it's going to happen real soon. We'll see that Trump's talking about bringing that peace plan out sometime this week or next week. So that'll be interesting to see what's going on with that. But all the things that we've been looking for to be taking place, they're absolutely right there, and it's happening right now in front of us. From the economic situation that it's just being screamed across the board that it's about to crash, and the war and these big World War III situation, and these two things coinciding like that with the same events that we've looked for and stuff like that. It's just screaming first parts of the tribulation, lining up with the second and the third seals, like absolutely perfectly. So when we see that stuff, it's an extremely red flag, and especially if you were somebody that, were an amillennial or something like that and didn't think this stuff happened, to see this convergence along with Israel becoming a nation, 70 years and everything, and them getting a peace plan, and then wanting to build the third temple, some of the stuff that, people think that we're the temple and everything like that, and they're not going to build the third one, and to actually see it being talked about in the news, seems like it would really get people to maybe take another look at what they've been looking at and be like, wow, maybe I was wrong about some of this stuff. But now it's easier just to be stuck in their things, because most of it's love of the world. John chapter 16, Jesus goes on to say, verse 1, these things have I spoken to you, that you should not be offended. Verse 2, they shall put you out of the synagogues, in your church buildings, church too. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that they doeth God's service, all right? And this takes many forms, not just them killing him back then, but the persecution that comes for those that love Jesus and stuff, especially those that are preaching his return and talking about the blessed hope. I've noticed that the comments, the trolls, have just been going frantic from the post-tribbers to the preterists that believe that it was all fulfilled, Revelations and everything, back in 70 AD when the Jewish temple was taken down. It's just it's silly. It's as silly as Jehovah's Witnesses thinking that we're in the 1,000-year reign right now, and the rapture happened, a spiritual one, back in the 40s and the 50s, and now we're in the 1,000-year reign right now. Yeah, things are looking real good in that situation, but it's laughable. It really is. But the persecution is just taking off, and the reason why is chapter 16, verse 3. And these things they have do to you because they have not known the Father nor me. All right, this is Jesus still speaking, and the truth is they don't. They're in a religious scenario, and they might talk like they know God, but their faith is in themselves, and their love is in the world. They're holding on to families and other things like that they put before God, and the last thing they want to think about is going to heaven or being with Jesus. I've said it a few times that the rapture is a totally different kind of event. It's catching you in a time where you would be, is Jesus your first love, and do you want to be with him, or do you love the world? And a lot of people they don't want to have anything to do with it. They've created almost their own religion where they want to have it when they die and know that they're going to a safe place and be secured from the pits of hell, but they want to live their life now and have all the sin and things that are in it. And that's kind of like this. And the post-trib and preterists that seem to be one of the big ones that are attacking a lot of the stuff that I talk about kind of remind me of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, or the Sadducees, and them being that there's no resurrection, and the Pharisees that there is, and them squabbling between each other. You can see them sometimes fight in people's comments and stuff like that, where they talk about, no, there's post-tribulation and people need to prepare, and then the other ones are the preterists, or no, it's already happened, nothing's coming, and both of them are ridiculous because it is coming, and it's obvious. But to be able to prepare for it is an absolute insanity. You can't prepare for it. We've talked about different things. There's a couple times where they give numbers in the first part of the tribulation from the fourth horseman that talks about that, and the second and the third, war and the famine and stuff. They kill a quarter of the earth's population. And then you get up to the sixth, and right before the halfway point of the tribulation for that year, month, day, and an hour, they kill another third of the population of the earth. But you guys have seen earthquakes and stuff like that are pretty bad, and like just islands and stuff, and the thousands of people that'll die. That one that happens at the sixth seal, that is after the four horsemen kill a quarter of the earth, it's worldwide, and it brings the mountains down, not quite as bad as the one that's at the end, but it brings the mountains down, and they're running to the caves and stuff like that. How many people would that kill? Along with the other things, including the trumpets, the sea, when the asteroid hits the ocean, 1/3 of it. I mean, we're talking numbers that are absolutely insane. To think that you make it through it. Those just two. The fourth seal talking about the four horsemen killing a quarter, and the sixth trumpet with the spectral riders killing another third. I mean, just that in itself is over half the population of Earth, like 4 billion people. But the other stuff and what it's going to kill, that'll kill billions too. I mean, it's just nuts. There's not going to be anybody left. And this is before the bowl judgments even come out in the second half, which just finishes off everybody else, just about. Nobody makes it to the end. When Matthew 24 talks about one person in the field, the one planting, and they're going about their daily lives. This is not a post-tribulation situation. Two people aren't going to be in the field. They're not going to be doing anything, all right? People are going to be trying to survive, and Christians will have already been persecuted and killed by that time, all right? The whole thing is pre-tribulation. And like I said before, if you didn't know this up to this point, and you hear, pre-tribulation, rapture, hey, I've always thought that the post-tribulation was how it went, and from what I know so far in studies, that's what I think. But if he wants to come before that, and he is, I don't have a problem with that. The sooner we get to be with Jesus, the better. I think that's a good attitude. That's an attitude that would be taken in the rapture. The other version is, no, we don't want to have anything to do with it. It's to the end. I'm going to use my stuff. I'm going to kill people and survive when I do a bug-in situation. You don't realize your house is going to be destroyed. Nobody's going to be bugging in. The only way that you would even make it is if somehow you were in a bug-out situation in the wilderness. You could survive off of it, Bear Grylls style. And you're not getting hit by asteroids and in an area that's going to be affected by water pollution and stuff like that. There's no way to do it. Am I a prepper? I've been for a long time. I know all kinds of survival stuff, and I've practiced it, and I always do. And every time that I've been camping, I always try to do it the hard way, to practice for survival situations, including having food and preps and stuff like that, of course. But this was for a situation if there was a breakdown before the tribulation, somewhere economic unrest, civil war in America where I'm at, and to be able to survive during that time, which I think that I do pretty good. However, once the tribulation starts, I know every single bit of that and all that I would prep and food-wise and stuff like that, and that all goes out the window. I have no control over it. There is no longer a control situation. That's God's wrath coming down on earth and the judgments that he allows to have happen when his hand's removed from it. There is no survival, and it's a death wish. The only point during the tribulation is realize you made the biggest mistake of your life, to ask Jesus into your heart and get saved in time before you die, because you are going to die. And that's the point of it, It's the finish line. What side are you going to be standing on? And, I wish more people would understand this. And I have a hard time, I think, a lot of time, because I'm always trying to save everybody, including the people that are attacking me and being post-trips and stuff like that. And I have to realize, that I can't save everybody. And that's something that I've never really quite learned. I still try to anyways, and that's why I think I struggle with this stuff, and it's so frustrating. Because I want people to understand, especially when you're having a conversation with them, and it seems like it's straightforward, and they would understand what you're saying, but they don't. It goes over their head, and the reason why is because that's really what they want. They've already set their mind towards those kind of things, and like I say, they think they're doing the will of God when they persecute you and they attack you verbally and everything like that. And if they got the chance, yeah, I'm sure there's some of them that would kill you while you're talking about Jesus and the blessed hope. just like it says in John, verse 2, chapter 16, and Jesus speaking, and it's exactly what Paul was doing when he was persecuting the church, the called out ones, I should say, that haunted him when he got changed and he realized what he was doing. And they'll realize what they're doing when they go into the tribulation. They'll realize that they're persecution, and they'll feel so ashamed for it. And I've already forgiven them. Anybody who's even made videos about me and stuff like that. And I always wondered if that would happen if I'd have the unleashing exposed videos, and now there's a couple of them, I guess. But I already forgive those people, and try not to let it get to me and stuff. And it just bothers me because, like I say, I don't want anything to happen to them either. I want everybody to be saved. I don't know how much time is left here, and I keep waiting to see if I'm going to get like a sign or something, that some sort of voice from heaven is going to go, Jared, it's right about now, and do like a last minute shout, but I haven't got anything like that. In fact, it's been completely blank. But there is a presence all over the world that everybody is feeling and they know about, and that I can feel, and it's everywhere, and every single person is looking and expecting it because they know that it's near. It's so near. It's like right on the edge. And for that reason, I know that I'm not alone in this. There's thousands and thousands out there that know that Jesus is about to come back, and they're looking for him as well. And those are the same people that I saw going up in my Rapture vision. It was so incredible. I couldn't wait to meet them. It was exciting to know that there was other brothers and sisters out there, and it was really, really exciting to look forward. I could not wait to meet them. It was an amazing feeling to be that happy and see that there were other people and stuff too. But yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah, the war ramping up though right now. I mean, I don't think it'll make it through November. It really looks like it could happen any minute. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this peace deal being ramped up. And I've heard that Macron out of France is pushing that if Trump doesn't do it, he's going to bring something out. But something's going to happen. There's things breaking out. About a month or so ago, I was talking to Dustin, who started the channel with me and everything else, a good buddy and Christian over in North Dakota, and he knows somebody who's an acquaintance or friend, and he had ran into, and I didn't talk about this yet, I was just kind of waiting, but he had ran into some recon Spetsnaz that were undercover and in groups of 4 every time you'd see them in the gym and stuff like that. And they were over there in North Dakota, and they would always be in groups of 4 and stuff. And he walked up to him, I guess, not Dustin, but his friend, and the guy just bluntly said, I know exactly who you guys are and what you're doing here. And told them to their face, if you guys come here, I'm going to blank kill you. And they had the deer in the headlights look. And it's interesting that they're probing the northern border because they're not the only ones that I've heard. Here again, I've heard a couple months ago that China was doing a lot of stuff in British Columbia and Alberta around the border, and they were looking for areas to come down through into America. And it's interesting because, yet again, China and Russia together, and while we're all looking at the caravan and sending troops down to the southern border, the whole thing could be a distraction to get hit from the other side, but it does happen fast when Babylon falls, and I believe this is going to happen really close to the beginning of the start of the tribulation. I think America goes down. And why is that? Because America is one of the things you got to get out of the way, or at least get under control with the guns and everything else. If you're going to bring in this one world utopia that they want, they've got to stop America. It's the last free zone that allows people to, have opinions and fight back and stuff like that, not under the communism that we're seeing right now. And it's already started here and already in the process. But they have to get rid of America, at least change it over into what they want it to be so that they can get this one world utopia. And of course the whole alien agenda and stuff is going to help with that, but they're gonna probably work America over real good with nukes and everything else. And we don't even know if this deal, once we get out of here or whatever, that God's not just going to release Yellowstone and let it blow too. It's not good, but what it talks about in the Bible, they can see the smoke from the ocean, and everybody's sad because they traded with the whole world and everything like that, and all the abominations and stuff. I don't think it's a city at all. I think it's a whole country. And I totally believe it's America. I think we're Mystery Babylon. And you can see that coming in, especially with the visions people have had. And it's not just one. If it was one person, it's one thing. But when there are so many that have had visions of the destruction of America, West Coast attack, just like we've talked about before with the Chinese naval invasion, and the East Coast with Russia, there's too many people to not take it into account, especially when we see that kind of prepping. And that's exactly what it looks like. And sorry about my throat. I was feeling a little bit under the weather the past few days. Kind of why I didn't make a video and stuff. I wanted to feel a little bit better before I did. But, yeah, I can't give an exact day. I just know that we're in a window right now that looks like the tribulation is about to start and the rapture is about to happen. And we take it one day at a time. But there's a hypeness in the air that I think everybody is feeling right now. Everybody that's looking anyways for Jesus and the return. There's an excitement that I've seen in people, and there's always that part in your mind because we can't grasp how awesome it's going to be. And to talk about something like this almost seems like a fantasy, to escape death and to be instantly changed and go to heaven, And yeah, we know that it's real and He keeps His word, but to fathom it and not be able to experience it before, I can see where people it's hard to grasp, but it will happen. And it's going to happen, and it looks like it's going to be happening soon. We don't know exactly when, but we do know that we're in a timeline, a window that looks like this is about to be taking place, and I think very, very soon. And when you get that idea into your head and you realize how close it is, there's something you just can't help that happens, and it's an excitement and joy that just comes over you to realize I don't have to deal with any more nonsense. And it's awesome. You'll never have to deal with the filth of the world like that again. You're gonna step into what you were born to be, a child of God, and all the awesome stuff that comes with it, and to be around Jesus and be able to talk to Him. And be able to, have the conversation with Him, and give Him a hug and everything else. And it's going to be awesome every single way. You'll never look back to this. It reminds me of this time when I was a kid. I went to this camp, and it was like a Bible camp for a week. And when I went there, we were in these tree forts and stuff camping, and then we'd learn about the Bible and stuff, and eat out. And there was some fire camp people that were there along with us that kind of took care of the camp, and there was this one girl and everything like that, and I had some serious puppy love going. I think I was only like 12 at the time or whatever, and she was older. She was like 18 years old, but I know one thing. When we left the island and I came back to the real world, I didn't want to be back in the real world. I just wanted to stay there because that seemed like it was paradise, it was so awesome. And it's going to be like what it's like when we go to heaven. There is not going to be any remorse about wanting to come back here ever again or anything like that. We're going to be stepping into everything that you've been waiting for your entire life. Your soul has been waiting for. And there's not going to be any looking back except when we come back and dish out judgment upon the world with Jesus, instead of the 1,000-year reign, which is going to be legendary and awesome all in itself, Every single part of it's going to be amazing. And to always be with Him and never be able to have to be away, be able to talk to Him when you want to, and not this waiting scenario that we're in right now where you talk to Him and sometimes you don't get an answer for a long time like that, but to actually be able to just go up and converse in conversation, man, that's going to be awesome. I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most, is that you'll just be able to talk to Him, instead of how it is right now, which makes it kind of tough a lot of times and stuff. But truly, truly awesome times that we're in, and I always wondered when this day was going to happen, and now it seems like it's just so close. It's amazing. If you guys have been leaving letters and stuff for family and loved ones that you haven't been able to get through to, I encourage you to keep that up because it could happen anytime now. It really could, and everything looks like it's about to break loose and happen, and man. It's amazing to think, and they're still taking down channels. I saw BP Earthwatch, another one of the channels that just got taken down on YouTube, and they're going after them. They're going after them all. Alex Jones was the big one, and they're not going after the small ones first, trying to work their way up to the big ones. They went straight for the top one, Alex Jones, and now they're working down which kind of keeps some of the smaller channels a little bit safer. Not what I was expecting at all. They're kind of doing it in the opposite order. But a lot of the ones that people listen to, I think the last thing he was talking on was that plane that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle, kind of like the MH317 plane that ended up in that island south of India or whatever, that had the 20 scientists on board that were from Australia, I think, that were studying invisibility for aircraft and stuff. Of course, had to do with the same thing that was the plane goes missing on and stuff. But yeah, very interesting. And stuff's closing down. Like I say, if you guys have ever seen videos from Steve Quayle or anything like that that would help explain to people what's going on with aliens and the whole agenda with the Roman Catholic Church and stuff like that, that would be a part of your message for people left behind, record them, save them, and share them in the envelopes and stuff that you have with the letters. It'll fast track people, and they'll be able to share it too because it's on a hard copy of their own, not controlled by the internet itself. So they'd be able to go into a place where they could plug that in with friends at a house or whatever residence, or they're going to be starting underground church Bible groups, and it would be able to fast track people so that they realize it's all real, and to ask Jesus into their heart, get saved. They would die, but of course they make it to heaven, and that's the most important thing. That's what we're trying to do here, is to get as many saved into heaven as possible. Time looks truly, truly short, and like I said, we don't know how much longer this is gonna continue on. I don't see it going another year at all. At this point right now, not even close. I don't see it going another year. It looks like it is just about to happen. I think the economy is going to crash in November, and I think we're going to go into war here extremely soon. And it might have something to do with the same time that caravan hits the southern border. I don't know. I heard a couple of people talking about that, but they've definitely hit it. They know every angle of America, and the attack is coming, and their countries are even telling their people, prepare for war right now. They've been prepping for it a long time, at least the past few years, especially with Russia taking like 20 million or 40 million people it was, like last year or the year before, and putting them in the underground bunkers for a week, practicing nuclear drills and stuff like that. I mean, the other countries, they're prepping for it. This is going to happen. And all the other stuff, including them shutting down space and things like that. Hiding stuff going on up there, I think has to do with UFOs and the big alien situation they're going to do when the rapture happens. It's going to try and take the credit for the whole situation, and they've got everything in play right where they need to, and it's a lot of work to do all that, and I don't think it's going to push off to another year, and I don't think that it can. I think they know that planet's coming in, and we know that it is too. If you guys know, somebody wrote in the comment, Nibiru and Wormwood are the same, and they're like, wow, I've never put that together, and I sometimes think that, like, you guys know what I'm talking about on a lot of stuff. So if you guys don't realize that, when you see Wormwood, which is going to be the whole either 1 through 3 or 1 through 4 trumpets, the brimstone fire coming down, it's the whole trail debris and the asteroids and the other planetoids and stuff that are involved with the whole thing. And Nibiru that comes through every few thousand years or whatever, which I believe was totally responsible for cracking open the crust and making the flood happen with Noah's Ark, and taking out Mars. There used to be a Nephilim, fallen angel oasis, and possibly Rahab, which is a planet that used to be between Mars and Jupiter, and I totally think that was there. And now the asteroid belt, especially when some of the asteroids have pyramids and stuff on them, they look like they're remnants of that time. Very interesting. But that whole thing that coincides and goes together, kind of like the event with aliens showing up that we also know lines up with all the dreams and stuff like that and visions of when the rapture happens and them being here. And these things are just looked at from different points of views. One's the world's, what they're talking about, and then one's the Bible and what it actually is. So yeah, that's what that's referring to. And they're saying that that's coming through around 2020. So that's something they can't change. They need to get this stuff moving. Enter into Agenda 2030, to get the population down to 500 million, which is what they want to do. And after the tribulation, it would be lucky if it was even that many people. There's not going to be anybody left. Like I say, if God didn't shorten it, or let it extend longer, whatever it is that he's referring to. No flesh should be left alive. The whole earth would be destroyed. And that's exactly the direction they want to go. And especially when, 90% of the population, even on Deagle, the military population thing that they have on the internet, they haven't changed it nor ever explained to it why by 2025, American population is down by like 80 to 90%. Where do people go, and where's the answer? And it fits in that timeline that they wanted to move Agenda 2030 up to Agenda 21, get this thing on the road. And I totally think that's the direction it's going. Obama hasn't left the scene. He's still a mile from the White House. Oh, where could he be? Where could he be? Oh, let's check a mile down the road from where we're at. They could have got these guys a long time ago. It's all to buy time. Every single bit of this has been a ploy to buy time. And that's exactly what it's been the whole time. It's a gigantic distraction to get things into play, get more troops into position, talk more with foreign leaders on how they're going to do it, wait for the right time to strike, get the people deceived and think that it's going to get better, and then boom, drop the whole hammer. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Everything's primed for it, especially the economy situation. It's not just in America, it's all over the world. And when a major country like America, something like that, when it tanks, it drags others with it. When there's other countries that are also tanking at the same time, it's enough to pull the whole world. But they know that. They'll blame it on the war. It'll be short. Gog and Magog will be during this time, and the peace deal, whatever it gets confirmed or is part to afterwards, that has to do with Israel, because they're going to survive the Gog and Magog attack, and it's going to be by the hand of God, and they're going to give them some relief after that. And I'm guessing the temple is going to be allowed to be built, which will be done, if it's like I say, if this all lines up this year, sometime in June or July next year, which fulfills 8:14 of Daniel, chapter 8:14. 2,300 days before the temple gets cleansed, a little bit short of 7 years long. And which is interesting. I should have noticed that a long time ago, because I thought, well, maybe the temple will be getting built. It could be built before the tribulation even starts. According to that verse, it looks like it gets built after the tribulation starts, and that's something that I should have noticed a long, long time ago, and I didn't until just recently. But stuff has been being revealed. Like I say, there's 2 times when numbers are given: the 6th trumpet and the 5th trumpet, for how long they are. And I should have worked back from the middle of the tribulation a long time ago. Of course, I would have only made it back a year and a half, and then had to figure out how long the seals and trumpets are. So, maybe it was just the right time to learn that stuff. But there's definitely a revealing taking place from God, and he's showing people different things, including me, and he has. And it's last minute stuff, it's last minute revealing and things like that. I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to talk about on this channel today, but I just kind of wanted to go over a few things and let you guys know that this thing is on big time, and it's not going anywhere. It's going to happen. It's going to push over the dam. The dam is going to break this time, and there's no way out of this. They've just pushed too far. It's ready to rock and roll, especially when countries like Russia and China are literally announcing to the public on their regular news that you can see that they're preparing for war. It's no longer hidden anymore. It's going to happen. And we also have timelines that we fall into. Nobody knows the day of the hour of the rapture. Okay, we know the season for sure. And when I start punching out numbers, before I start getting comments in there, you should be trying to witness to people and not talk about when the rapture is going to happen. Don't you know nobody knows? Just knock it off. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the start of the tribulation, and that is definitely something that we can look at when it would start, because it has numbers and links of time down to the day, 1290, 1260, when it's going to start, and when it lines up for feast days, it would be fulfilled in the fall of 7 years from that time. And with that, we can punch numbers in like the 3rd of November or around that time within that week. And for that reason, because we look for the rapture, which we believe is associated with that and around that time, and a calling, a snatching away right when that happens, we can look for that and then expect the rapture to be around that time, especially when we know that it's a pre-trib rapture, all right, along with its association with the Jewish wedding and how that goes for 7 days, the same as a week, like Daniel's 70th week, the whole length of time before we come back at the end. When you look at it that way, we can start to speculate and come up with ideas on when it's going to be, even though we don't know. And it's exciting to look forward and discuss it and talk about it, because it encourages one another, especially when you're feeling down. And you might hear something like, hey, it's really soon, hang on there a little bit longer. And, give some encouragement to fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. But I think I've talked long enough on this video. I just wanted to do like a little heads up. Definitely paying attention. It's so close, I don't even know if I'll get other videos out before it happens. But maybe it will, maybe it won't, I don't know. We just keep watching and waiting and looking for that time. And And that's exactly what we're doing, and it's closer than ever. So, like I say, ignore the scoffers, keep leaving messages to loved ones and family and let them know. And, and all the people that scoff now, this channel's here for you too. Record and do whatever you can to figure things out, because I'm trying to leave a platform, a cement bridge in rough waters, which will be the tribulation, that you can grab onto with something that you at least knew was sound before the tribulation happened and the rapture happened, that you knew, oh my gosh, this is where I messed up on the whole thing, and I should have had it figured out. So you can make it to heaven too, because I don't want anybody to go to hell. There is punishment that needs to happen for people. I believe in life, absolutely, but I would never wish anybody to go to hell or to go into the tribulation. It's not anything fun or good at all, and it's not very Christian to wish that upon anybody. So that's what it's here for, try and get as many people as saved as possible. And I can't save the world, but I can sure try along the way and leave as much help as I can for people while I'm doing it. But I think I've talked enough, and we're still paying attention. And, if it continues on, I'll keep talking. But keep looking up. Jesus is coming soon, and it looks like it could be any day now. But we'll wait and see and have some encouragement. God bless. I'll catch you next time on Unleashing. Bye.